Hi there, this is Jeff, and I'm going to show you how to get the artwork ready for your 8-foot diameter by 48-inch tall circle trade show hanging sign. And so to start off with, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take the template and I'm going to drag it into Photoshop. And as this opens up, this is actually going to be the full-size template that you're going to use. So it's already to the correct size. All you have to do is just design right on top of this template. But as we get started, there's a couple things you want to check first. You want to make sure that it opens up in CMYK mode. So I can see right here that this is in CMYK mode. If for some reason yours opens up and it's maybe an RGB, go ahead and switch it over by going to Image Mode and make sure that CMYK color is selected. Next thing you want to do is you want to make sure that the resolution is at 125 dpi. This is going to be printed out in large format, and that's going to be the correct resolution. Now you can check that by going to Image Size, and you can see under Resolution right here, this is already at 125 dpi. If it's not, go ahead and switch it over right now. So as you begin designing, you can actually design it literally right on top of this template. Now keep the template as its own separate layer on the right hand side, because when you're all done, you don't want to print out the template. You want to just print out your artwork. And so you're going to eventually either hide it or you're going to delete the template altogether. And the best way of doing that is to keep it as its own separate layer so that you can do that. The next thing is you want to notice that there is bleed on this template. It's on the very top and on the very bottom. And if I zoom in here, you can actually see, if I use the navigator tool, I'll go to the very top, and you can see here's some bleed, which is about 1 inch on the top going across. And then if I go all the way to the bottom, you can see that there is bleed on the bottom as well, another inch. So if you have a background color, like let's say you have a red background, go ahead and extend that red all the way to the very outer edges of the bleed. So your bleed is going to be red, and same with the rest of your background. However, if you have any important information, like let's say text or logos, then keep those well away from that line. So at least several inches away from the line where the bleed is, because you don't want it cut and stitched and sewn where your logo is. But if there's a background color, that's obviously not a problem. So keep the logo, any important information away from the bleed, but your background, you can go ahead and extend all the way into the bleed. So the next step is to actually go ahead and drop in our logo. And the way you can do that is by going to File and Place. And you can actually browse your computer for your logo. Here's mine. It's an Adobe Illustrator logo, and I'm going to go ahead and click OK. Now you want to use a vectored logo because remember, this is a full-size template and it's pretty big. This is a really large template, and so you want to use a vectored logo, which allows you to scale the logo without it becoming pixelated or pulling apart or blurry or anything like that. And so here is mine. It's obviously small, and so I need to resize it by pressing and holding down Shift, and then I just grab a corner with my mouse and I just pull it apart. Now holding down Shift allows me to go ahead and resize this without while constraining proportions. So you obviously don't want to change the proportions of the logo. You just want to simply resize it. So here we go, and now I'm going to just drag it over. Start with the left hand side here and right click, and so I place the logo on the left hand side. Now since this is a circle hanging sign, it's going to repeat all the way around, and so to do that I just go over to the logo that I just dropped in and I'm just going to duplicate. So I go and I right click and I go to Duplicate Layer, press OK, and I use the Move tool right here, and I just can simply move it over. So here we go. Here it is on the left. Here it is on the right. Now again, this is just an example, and so you want to determine how many times you want to repeat around. You can have it be repeat around once or have it repeat around 50 times, whatever fits on the template, and obviously take into consideration your logo and how wide or how tall your logo is. Basically just whatever looks good. And so this is an example where it's just going to repeat twice going around. And of course you want to make little minor adjustments so that it looks right. And once you have that in place, you're actually ready to go ahead and zoom in so that you can check the image quality. So if I zoom all the way in by pressing Control and plus on a PC or Command and plus on a Mac, you can zoom all the way in until about 1 inch equals 1 inch on the ruler bar. So here's 149 inches, here's 150. That's about 1 inch in real life. And so now I can look and inspect the elements, and I can see that it's good resolution, nothing is pixelated or blurry. And once I've done that, I can press Control and minus, or if you're using a Mac, Command and minus, and zoom all the way back out. So at this point, what you want to do is make sure to save a copy of your working layered file. So in case you need to make any changes and you need to go back in, you'll have that file that you can always revert back to. Because at this point, what you're going to do is you're actually going to get it ready to save, and you're going to take that step we talked about earlier by pressing and clicking on the template layer and then just dragging it into the trash can. So now what that does is it just leaves us with the artwork layer, and now we're ready to go ahead and flatten it, which you can go to Layer and then click Flatten Image. Now that's going to take all your design layers and just compress it into one document. And this is going to be the file that's used to print. And so it's full size, it's ready to go. And so we want to go ahead and save it now by going to File and Save As. And you want to save this as usually like a .psb file will work, which is a large Photoshop document file, .psb. And sometimes it'll allow you to save it as a PDF as well. It really depends, because with these really a large document, sometimes it doesn't let you save it as a PDF, but if it does, that will work as well. And just make sure it's a high quality PDF. And so really those are two options that I use that I would recommend. And so go ahead and save that, and that's going to be the file that you want to upload. And when you flatten it, it's just going to lock everything in place, and it's going to be a more manageable file to upload. So that's it. If you have any questions, obviously feel free to ask, and I'll talk to you soon.